I was so when I fled from Alberta, obviously I had nowhere to go, and I had to stay in a shelter for women and children, and I was mistreated horribly. They even went so far as to attempt to hospitalize me against my will. It was scary. Why? I don't know. I don't know why. They describe me as being too difficult, and that, according to them, everything's a confrontation with me. And this was, okay, so the highest up in their chain was the one who was saying these things. And then when I would ask the other staff, she said all of the staff feel the same way about me. And I asked the other staff, I was like, am I really like confrontational with everything? And they're like, not with me, not with me, not with me. So she was speaking for all of the staff, and the rest of the staff had other things to say. But she personally just didn't like me, I think. She said really horrible things about me. She was really like minimizing to me. Like, she told me that I take the shelter space for granted, which is a really, really awful thing to say because it minimizes the traumatic experience of being homeless. Right? And she was like, if you don't like being here, there's the door. Meanwhile, all of the rest of the shelters are full. So she was telling me to leave with my 3 kids, knowing that we had nowhere to go. We needed that space. And this is what she was saying to me. What an awful, awful individual. Right? She said that I was ruining the ambiance of her work environment just by existing in that space. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. How? I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand what this woman's fucking problem was, but apparently me just existing in that space was too much for her to handle, and it was ruining the ambiance of her work environment. Is Alberta as fucked up as that? I never had an experience like that in Alberta. Over in Alberta, like, people are more trauma informed. Like, they understand, like, they're trained to deal with people who like have traumatic experiences and post-trauma. So over here, it was not like that. They were very ill-informed on trauma, the effects of trauma, and they really didn't know how to deal with somebody who's autistic. Like, they just, like, autism was such a, like, a foreign concept for them that they couldn't even wrap their puny fucking pea brains around it. I started calling that woman pea brain. Yeah. Every time she would walk past me, my brain would just get itchy and I would blurt it out. Pea brain! Yeah. That or like my vocal stim, the hard vocal stim that I would also have around that woman was diarrhea. I would say diarrhea a lot when she was around me. And it was only because she made me uncomfortable, right? Like, it wasn't like that before somebody made me feel bad. It was only like that after, right? So, like, if I was actually treated with respect and dignity, like a human being should be, I don't think I would have had the same reactions, right? But if you back an animal into a corner, you should expect that they're gonna want to fight to get out, right? But instead, like, I think they were just like expecting me to roll over and play dead, like a stunned creature, like some fainting goat or something. Like, no, I'm not that kind of animal. I'm a different kind of animal, and you're poking at the wrong animal. They had no fucking clue how to handle having somebody autistic in their shelter. They were like, And what's weird is that they also had somebody in the shelter who was a level 3 autistic, and they treated that individual with more dignity and respect. So because my symptoms are hidden, I didn't deserve as much dignity and respect as that person who couldn't mask. Yeah, it was really, really awful. So basically, there was an incident in December where I started to have a panic attack. Okay. When I fled Alberta, I left my medication behind. Unfortunately, that's just how it was. And I was in a place where I didn't have any health coverage. And so I couldn't replace the medication until I had some temporary coverage in place. So I started to have a panic attack, and I told them exactly what was happening. I'm having a panic attack. I feel like I'm having a heart attack, but I know for a fact that I'm not having a heart attack. It's just a panic episode. And they were like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I'm gonna be fine. I'm just letting you know, like, this is what I'm going through right now. And I don't know how long this is going to last." And then at the peak of my panic episode, I became nonverbal. Any other time that I was nonverbal, it was never an issue. Only then, only during that episode, did it become a problem. And they purposely overwhelmed me, hovered over me, and put their hands on me because I wouldn't verbally respond to them.
Sonic.
Don't hit me.
Sonic. Let go.
And so because I wasn't responding to them, they decided to respond in this way. And it was really, really bad. And so I had a meltdown, a sensory meltdown, because they were fucking manhandling me while I was having a panic attack. And I was nonverbal. Okay, now if you understand autism, okay, I cannot force myself to be verbal when in that state. It's like a block. I can't. And so they attempted what's called preventative confinement. Now, preventative confinement requires a very specific criteria. Preventative confinement requires the person to be a harm or a risk to themselves or other people. Me having trauma symptoms and being nonverbal autistic does not meet that criteria. I wasn't harming anybody. I wasn't harming myself. I just wouldn't respond to them when they were towering over me and demanding that I talk to them. Right. Now, they ended up triggering my fight responses. Obviously, they're manhandling me and threatening me. Right? Threatening, that is a threat. Okay, when you tell somebody that you're going to the hospital and you don't have a choice, and we're going to call somebody to come here and get your kids, that's a threat. And when I feel threatened, my response is not to run. Okay, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to fight you. Right? And suddenly, oh my God, she's so aggressive. Oh my God. Like, what did you expect? What the fuck did you expect from me? I stood up and I said, no, you fucking don't. And suddenly I'm the aggressor. Oh my god. And literally, like, the moment I was up on my feet, no longer having a panic attack, they scattered like a cloud of gnats. Only one person remained in front of me, and instead of apologizing for how they behaved, she justified her actions. And I told her to shut the fuck up. The worst you could be doing right now is justifying what y'all just fucking did to me. And so they made my life very uncomfortable from there on after. And I had to remain in there.
Shut up.
Eulogy, don't talk to your brothers like that. And I had to remain in there for the remainder of December and January. And they decided to give me a general discharge date before I had ID and secured a source of income. Yeah. I ended up leaving before that discharge date by like a week. And I'm here. I secured housing despite the challenges that they faced me with. And doing so, you know, gave me another set of challenges to face. But I still did it. And the power of negotiation was exactly how I did it.